Hello, good morning and welcome. Thanks again for joining us for another session. Today we're looking at time management for busy households. Looking forward to sharing some tips, but also looking forward to hearing what you've got to say on each of the bits and pieces that I share today. Always enjoy it when someone says, no, that doesn't work for me. I have to do X, Y, and Z. So use the chat or unmute, whatever you feel comfortable with. As you would have just heard, this is being recorded, will be shared with the other participants that are here today, as well as people that weren't able to make it, and we'll put it on YouTube so people can access it. And feel free to look at it at any time, just for a bit of a refresher. But also, you can have me gibbering away in the background while you're doing some of these things, just so I'm keeping you company. So these recordings are always available for you to access. So as I said, time management for busy households. I'm Julie Cliff, professional organizer and declutter coach. I'm an executive assistant by trade with 20 years as an administrator and executive assistant. Um, and before I started my business 11 years ago, so yeah, helping people get and stay organized is something that I've been doing for a long time, including being the oldest of four and helping run the household from a pretty young age while dad was on the tractor and mum was doing various jobs. Married, everybody's home at the moment. One teenager is on holidays, the other one's not working at the moment. My husband's working from home to save a bit of money, so we're not paying for petrol. And yeah, I run a team of professional organisers, a few people here in Melbourne and two in Geelong as well. So that's a little bit about me and how I've come to become a professional organiser and a declutter coach. So running a household is a full-time job. And we sort of almost, I don't know, not laugh, but we sort of look back at the past and think, how did housewives just be housewives? Back in the 40s, 50s, coming up to the 60s. But when you have a look at all of the things that really goes into the household, and we're going to look at four of these main points today, it is a full-time job. It doesn't matter if you've got one children, no children, you're retired, you're working. When there's daily living like meals, laundry and cleaning, family logistics like school activities and transport, around school stuff for the kids, appointments and admin, taking someone to a doctor's appointment, all the paperwork and emails that go with that, as well as the mental load, like remembering, planning and keeping all the wheels in motion. It's a full-time job. Time management for busy households is what we're looking at today. And these four sort of focus areas is what we're going to be looking at today: the daily living, the family logistics, appointments and admin, and the mental load. And there are more that I didn't put on the list, probably so we didn't scare ourselves, but these are the four main ones I'm going to look at today. So as we just said, it feels really hard and can be, weighing down on our shoulders, the responsibility for doing all of these things. Clients often tell me, there's just too much to do and not enough time. And I don't know where to start. I'm busy all day, but nothing important gets done. And I feel consistently or constantly behind and overwhelmed. Would love to know if you resonate with some of those things, and also if there's something else that's on your mind as well about running the household. And I think Suzanne actually said to me in an email late yesterday or early today, yeah, there seems to be too much to do and not enough time. So we hear you and we understand for the reasons that we just spoke about on the previous page, because there is so much to do. So today we're going to have a look at where do all of these to-dos come from. We're going to have a bit of an audit and a check-in as to why we've got so much on our plate. We're going to learn how to prioritize what actually matters so that we're not just busy doing busy things, we're busy doing the important things. We're going to structure our week around your real life and your energy levels. We're going to create some simple systems that work at home, and we're going to make being organized a part of daily life. So that's the sort of format we're going to have a look at today. Just having a bit of a think before we jump into it. What would you like to learn today, and how do you use your time now, and how would you like to use your time in the future? Are there some tweaks you would like to make? And we'll come up with lots of different ways to do that today. But, how is it feeling for you? Feel free to either just jot it down on a piece of paper or pop it in the chat. Feel free to share it if you would like. And how are you feeling that you're using your time, and how might you use it in the future? I'll just give you a few seconds to have a think about that before I move on to the next one. Anybody feel like sharing either in the chat or taking themselves off mute and sharing that one? No problem. We will move on. Let's look at the 6 steps of the space and time organizing system. There's a few of you on here today that have been to a number of my workshops already. You already know this system, and I just keep coming back to it time and time again because it just helps keeps us on the straight and narrow. Sometimes we can feel like we're getting a bit stuck in the weeds, even when I'm thinking about new business ideas and that sort of thing. And I always just come back to these 6 steps because I really feel like it wraps up a lot of how we can go about decluttering and organizing our space and our time. And as you know, today we are looking at our time management. So we're really going to look at that side of the system. So we are going to go through the 6 steps of the space and time organizing system, and with a focus on those focus areas of the home, like the household focuses of the daily living, family logistics, appointments and admin, and mental load. So we'll have a bit of a focus on that as we go through. So looking at these 6 steps, and then we're going to go into them in more detail. The first step, stop the stuff. We're going to do a bit of an audit and a check-in and stop putting more things on our to-do list. Second step is your commitment to being organized. It's, about the idea of we might need to change some things and tweak some things, and really be committed to being organized, get things in the calendar, and start making some tweaks or continue to do the things that are working. Third step is sort the stuff. So we'll start categorizing and grouping things together to help make some sense of what we're doing each and every day and throughout the weeks. The fourth step is things you no longer need. So this is the decluttering step. So once we've sort of got them, our to-do list in some sort of order, we're going to go through and see which one of them we can actually just cross off the list or give to somebody else to do, to take a few things off our plate. Fifth step is easy storage for your to-do items. So we're looking at how can we manage all of these things and keep on top of them. And the last step is maintenance tools. So putting things into our lives each and every day to keep the wheels turning. So let's have a look at the first step, which is stop the stuff. So the first thing to ask ourselves is, what is the big deal about having too much on our to-do list? Clients always tell me, there's too much to do, not enough time, they don't know where to start. Some of those things we already looked at on one of the previous slides, and just really having a bit of an audit about where all these things are coming from. And there's often, different hats that we wear, and these to do are often coming from them, whether in a caring role, whether you're a business owner, whether the caring role is for young kids, whether you're part of the sandwich generation where you're looking after young kids as well as your parents, or somebody else in the household, or whether it's just the day-to-day stuff. You know, all of these different hats that we wear come with a list of to-dos. So we'll have a good look at those in a minute. But at this step, I really want you to stop and have a think about what are we doing? What are we trying to achieve? And then we can decide how are we going to use the 168 hours that we have in a week. Doesn't seem like very many, does it? 168. And we've got, I hope you are getting some sleep at that time, and I would really love you to be able to prioritize sleep. There will probably be paid work, but if not, retired, how are you managing your time and spending your time there? Household things that we've just been talking about. So we'll look at how can we break down our week and put it nicely over the 168 hours a week, so we're not running around so much like a headless chook. And really, as I said, having a think of why we have so much on our to-do list and where all the to-dos come from. And this is a really good place to start practicing saying no. Someone might ask you, would you like to come on this committee with you? Would you like to start volunteering here? Would you like to do this? Would you like to do that? And we will practice and practice, because practice makes perfect, saying no to those people that are asking us to do outside of our scope that we are focusing on. Because as we say, there's only 168 hours a week. So a good place, as I said, to start this process is by stopping and doing a bit of an audit of what we've got going on. So looking at our daily living activities like the meals, laundry, cleaning, those sorts of things, an audit of what tasks are we repeating every day. Maybe there's some way and something we can do once we recognize that these particular things are happening every day. So we're not actioning any of this at the moment. We're just noticing and doing an audit. What about the family logistics? What are you coordinating, chasing, or reminding others about? There might be school pickups, drop-offs. There might be different appointments that you're driving around to, family events that you're coordinating. All of those different things. Again, we're just doing an audit, having a bit of a look at where is all our time being spent. The next focus point there is the appointments and admin. So what is filling up your calendar or sitting on your to-do list? So we can have a look back at our calendar or our diary for the last couple of weeks. And again, doing an audit. What are you spending your time on? Are there activities in there that are really zapping your energy and not really getting you anywhere? And which of those ones that you want to spend more time on? Really noticing that so that we can start to make some changes going forwards. And then what's on your mental load? There'll be things that you're having to remember, the time for planning, what's for dinner, these things that are on your mind, but sometimes you don't even realize until you stop and notice. And the times that I sort of realize what's on my mental load is when I have the slow cooker going and I know that dinner is already taken care of. A number of times I think during the day and go, oh yeah, the slow cooker's on, dinner sorted. It's just such a great feeling. But as I say, I didn't realize my mind was thinking about dinner unless I know it's sorted. So this first step, as I've said, is a really good place to be able to stop, remind ourselves that we only have 168 hours in a week, do an audit to see what we're spending our time on, and then really thinking about how do you want to spend your time moving forwards, and then we can start to make some changes. So the second step is your commitment to being organized. Now, unfortunately, there is no magic wand. I'm going to share some tips here. And as I said, I've built my business for the last 11 years around decluttering and organizing people's space and their time. So no, being organized takes time, commitment, and persistence. But really, there is no magic wand. We can't just click our fingers and everything be perfect. We want to be going through these steps to be able to help us and remind us what those important things are that we want to be doing in our lives, people that we want to spend time with, and then start to reflect our commitment to these things by getting them in the calendar and get really clear on those goals. You would have heard us speak in various sessions about our focus board sessions, which we can send out a recording for as well. It's about really getting clear on the projects that you want to work on over the next 6 months. And I know a few of you that are with us today have done that focus board workshop. And it just helps us get clear on our goals so that when someone does ask us to do something else, we can say, no, I'm focusing on these things at the moment. I'm not working on that thing that you have asked me to do. So, being clear on what we're trying to achieve is a really good opportunity for us to get that time in the diary so that we're showing our commitment to these things. So you may not be quite clear on where we are at just now. We've done that little audit of our time, and this is talking about getting it in the calendar, but don't be too worried just yet if you're not exactly sure what you're doing with your time. The next few steps will help you tweak that and get it sorted. But this is really a good continuation of that reflection and starting to get important things in the calendar. As I always tell the story, when I was working as an executive assistant to CEO and executive director, I would say to them, if it's not in your calendar, and this is going back to 2001, 2002, 2003, when I was working for these two gentlemen, it was basically all on a paper diary in front of me. I'd say to them, if it's not in this diary here, it doesn't exist. I don't know about it. So this step is really about getting those important things in your calendar too, in your Google Calendar, your paper diary, whatever it is, and show your commitment to those projects that you want to work forward on. And we've been also talking about, what do you want your life to feel like? We did that little check-in before. How are you going managing your time now and what tweaks you might like to make going forwards? Do you want to be running around like headless chook? Do you want to feel overwhelmed, scattered, and exhausted? Now is the time to make some deliberate choices so that we are moving away from the overwhelm and to more of a steady flow. Making regular planning time and getting those important things in the calendar. I know I've said that a lot, but I can't stress it enough because things just fill up the calendar. If we don't sit down and read the book, if we don't sit down and put time into business development, if we don't sit down and fill out those forms for the kids so they can go on their school excursions, it doesn't happen. Other things always, come up that feel like they're more important. We need to deliberately make those choices and show our commitment towards moving towards these goals. So the next step is sort the stuff. Before I do that, I'll just let you have a think. If there's any questions, unmute yourself or pop it in the chat. Thoughts so far as to stopping more things from adding to your to-do list and auditing. And then we're also starting to put things in the calendar, or at least starting to prioritize those things that are important to you. We're going to have a look at step number 3. This is sort the stuff. So this one, sorting the stuff in regards to your time is really starting to perhaps get some time blocks together, important projects together, and just things, making time out of that 168 hours in the week, making time for all of these things. So scheduling some me time, work paid work or working on your business, domestic duties that we've already spoken about, like the washing, groceries, meals, and cleaning, and also family commitments. So we can start to time block and put the important time aside for these things to make sure that we are getting enough time to get them done. Otherwise, you end up at the end of another week and going, where's that gone? And I still haven't ticked off these things off of my to-do list. So get all your to-dos out of your head. You can do a little bit of a brain dump. Get a piece of paper, or we do have this brain dump page that you can download off of the website. Let me know if you have any troubles with that, because we're updating the website at the moment. But just get all the to-dos out of your head, all the things you need to do for yourself, the people in your household, for your loved ones, for the business, for your paid work, for any adventures that you're going on if you're in retirement. Get them all out of your head. And then once they're on a page, we can start to make some priorities and be able to choose those that are important to you. So that step there, sorting is really a good opportunity, as I said, to get the ideas out of your head onto a piece of paper, and then we can make some priorities from there. When we're talking about decluttering our physical items, this sorting step is really important. Just, getting like items together. So you might put all the batteries together, all the tennis balls together, all the, makeup brushes together. When we're doing different sorting like that, physical sorting, then we can decide from those sorted piles what we want to do with it. So that's exactly what we've just been doing with our time and all of those important tasks that we have on our to-do list. Just let me check the chat. Thank you, Mary Lou. She's just put the brain dump link in the chat, and we'll send it out this afternoon in our email as well if you want to use that brain dump list, just to get it all out of your head and then start to make some priorities. So we're going to move on to the fourth step, which is things you no longer need. So this is the decluttering step. This is one of my favorite things to do with my clients in relation to their time. We've just done that big brain dump, or you can just use the to-do list that you have. Now we'll have a look at it and see what we can declutter, things we no longer need. We want to see what we can outsource, what we can automate, what we can delegate, and we can and just be able to pass them on to somebody else to do. That is, if we've decided that it is actually worth the effort. Some things I just love to see on somebody's list and go, oh, do you really need to wash the cat? Or do you really need to do this? Or do you really need to do that? Get a big black texture and just cross off that thing off the to-do list. Maybe you're really pressed for time leading up to Christmas and decide, no, I'm not doing Christmas cards anymore, or I'm not writing the Christmas letter that I've written. I'm going to send a few quick emails instead, looking at what we can outsource, automate, delegate, or completely, delete with a big black texter. So looking at your to-do list, what can we pass on to other members of your household to do? Like sometimes I find when I'm working with mums, particularly corporate mums that are used to doing everything and controlling everything, sometimes they end up a little bit of a bottleneck because they're trying to do everything. They're trying to do it their way and they're trying to do it perfectly. And it would be fine to pass it on to the kids or their spouse or their partner and get somebody else to do it, or get somebody else to do it. And maybe it's not done exactly how they want it done, but it would be good enough. 80%, 90% is probably better than you running around and absolutely exhausting yourself. Passing it on to somebody else, outsourcing whatever that thing is, the cooking, the cleaning, maybe some pickups, some drop-offs, getting others to be able to help you out. Maybe your neighbors can help. Maybe it's your friends, your work colleagues, or other family members as well. And just asking for as much help as you can. I know we're not very good at it. Sometimes it does feel like it's easier to just do it ourselves. But the old idea of teaching somebody how to fish and then they can look after themselves after that. So we can pass on the skills to others so they can help us. So we're talking about time management for busy households today. What of the daily living, family logistics, the appointments and admin and mental load can you pass on to somebody else? Maybe it might be paid. Maybe it might be getting somebody, one of my team in to help you with your decluttering and organizing, or maybe you would like some one-on-one sessions with me to help you manage your to-do list. Maybe it is paid, but a lot of these times we can get other people around us to helping us in the household. And as I said, this step here is all about letting go of the things you no longer need. Decluttering those unimportant tasks in your calendar to free up the tasks that are of your choosing. Some more time to relax, some more time for reading. And there's different ways, and we can talk about this probably in the next steps coming up, about how can you just grab little pockets of time to do more things. Like sometimes I'll deliberately leave 10 minutes early to go to a client, take my book with me, park out the front of their house, read for 10 minutes, and then I'll head into the client. So you might be able to come up with some of those little twists to your week to make and deliberately carve out time for yourself, or some of these other tasks that you need to do. Maybe it's admin time, and maybe it might be going and doing your admin at a coffee shop. You have a nice, cup of tea and a bicky, and do your admin emails in a nice location. So there's lots of different things that we can think to get things done much easier and more enjoyably as well. And to help you continue to prioritize your to-do list, here's a few questions here that you might like to ask yourself. Does this thing that I am looking at on my to-do list take me closer to my goal? So you might have on there, what have I got on my to-do list here? Let me have a quick squizzy. I've got I've got Christmas cards 2026. So Christmas cards for this year. I'm definitely going to do them. So yes, it does take me closer to my goal. It's nice to touch base. And the idea of the Christmas card as well is to touch base and also hopefully, to bring some new business into the new year as well. So yes, that Christmas cards for 2026 can stay on my to-do list, and I want to get that sorted. But work through your to-do list and ask yourself that question. I think everything I've got on there will stay there, but it's an interesting question. Does this take me closer to my goal? The second step is, does this lighten my mental load? So we're talking a lot about mental load today, the things that you need to remember, the planning, all the stuff that carry around on your mind. What are some of those biggest things that are on your mental load that you could just make time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, get that task done, and you would just go, oh, that's such a relief. There might be something that's been sitting on your list for a while that you could go, yep, that's an important task. I'm going to make time to do it now. And you'd get a really big relief. We could go, yeah, that task is definitely worth doing. The third point there says, which of all the tasks will give me the highest payoff or make me the most money? So if you're running your own business, and again, like I was just looking at my to-do list, I would be able to identify some of these things that really do make money for the business, and other things I like to do, but maybe I should be spending more time on the things that make more money. Or if you're, you're retired and you're thinking about what's the highest payoff, it might be, how can we get a few of my friends together that I would normally see individually and take up quite a bit of my time of my week. Can I just invite them around for a cup of tea? It doesn't need to be a big thing, doesn't need to be, a huge dinner party. Just, see if you can bring some of these things together. Do it all in one go, and that could give you a really high payoff. It would be good fun, lovely to see those friends of yours, and they might get to make a friendship as well. So that could be a good one to be able to help you with your tasks and consolidate them a little bit. Interesting question to ask. And the last dot point says there, if today I could only do 3 or 4 tasks of value that would be a real impact, what would they be? So again, these questions are all about priority setting, finding out what those important things are, and then getting them done. But sometimes people say, I don't really know where to start. And I never think there's a right and a wrong place. I think sometimes if we start with an easier thing, gives us that sense of satisfaction that we've got it done and give you some motivation to move on to the next task as well. And you can start that just by putting a timer on for 10 minutes. Sometimes I let my invoicing go for a week, and I think I'm probably at that stage at the moment with Easter in the road this week. But set the timer for 10 minutes. All right, I'm just going to sit down and do invoicing for 10 minutes. But by the time that timer starts clicking and 10 minutes is up, I'm good. I've settled in. I can continue on. But sometimes you're thinking that 10 minutes is a really good start. You can stop after 10 minutes if you need, but often you've got the motivation to continue after that. So hopefully some of these questions here have helped you with your priority setting when you're looking at this long list. We've only got 168 hours this week. Hopefully some of these questions will help you let go of things that you no longer need and free up some time to focus on those important projects. So we're going to look at step 5 now, which is easy storage. We're doing good for time. So easy storage, when we're talking about our physical items, of course, we're looking at ways that we can create a permanent home for our stuff. So it might be a particular shelf that something lives on, or right beside your computer keyboard that you want to put your keys, or it might be a basket or something like that. So that's for our physical items, but easy storage for our to-dos are usually a to-do list and a calendar. I would have sort of 2 places to look after your to-dos. And this is all about, again, getting it out of your head onto a piece of paper and then having it so that you can make those priorities and then take some action on it. And a simple system, as I said, is using your calendar to actually put time aside and action these things, and having a bit of a list, a to-do list. I use a Google Calendar, and I have lots of different reminders pop up. Looking at, I can't see any that have popped up here from this morning, but I did have an earlier Zoom session at 8 o'clock. So I had a reminder 10 minutes before that and half an hour before that. So they pop up on my phone. So I love that electronic calendar to remind me that things are coming on, particularly in the mornings when things can be a little bit busy, and even more so when the kids were small and I'm dressing them and, getting ready for school and that sort of thing. Don't need to do that with a 16 and 20-year-old so much anymore. But this easy storage for your to-dos is really, what's the simple system? We can have fancy apps to manage our to-dos, but I really think a piece of paper, a notebook is a great thing to be able to do it. And then start to plug things into your diary and your calendar to action them. Because as I said, when I was working for the executive director and CEO, if it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen. So it's the same thing as your bill paying, your cleaning, any of those things that need to be done around the house, any of those family logistics, meals, your laundry. it's great to allocate time. The other thing is that my people that have been to my workshops in the past as well tell me that they really do enjoy cooking for the family and doing the cleaning, but it's they enjoy it when they allocate time to do it and they make time and delegate other things for people to do so they can focus on cooking, excuse me, and doing the cleaning. They quite like it, but they don't like it when it's jumbled in with everything else and everything's set to rush. But they like it when they've planned out their week and they know, oh yeah, Saturday afternoon, I'm going to have 2 hours at around lunchtime. Everybody else is going to be out at sport. I'm going to clean the house, and if that's how they've allocated and chosen to spend their time, they really cherish that because that's something that's important to them. So as I said, easy storage for their to-dos is about having a nice, clear system that's going to work for you. Be interested to hear for you. Do you use a paper diary or electronic diary? And also, what do you use for your to-do list? As I said, you can have lots of different apps, but sometimes you could get 5 things done off your to-do list by the time you actually get it in the app. And also, highly recommend getting your to-do list out of your email box. So don't let your emails dictate how you want to spend your time, because often once you get into your email box, it's really hard to get out again. Oh, this person's just replied, and oh, they've replied again. So have a separate something to allocate, to have for storage of your to-dos and then allocating time to do things. So yeah, let me know, how do you manage your to-dos? Mary Lou will pop a link in shortly with this weekly planner. Many of you probably have already downloaded it, but this is a great way to just plan out your week. Put in your appointments, put in your paid work, put in your travel time, put in your doctor's appointments, put in the travel time from the doctor's appointments. How about when you need to follow up with the doctor afterwards to get the referral to the next doctor? So we can plan things out and look at it and see, what's the week looking like? So this is really going along with your energy. I'm an early morning person, so I like to get a lot of these things done earlier in the morning. And as I say, don't ask me to do anything past about 8:30 at night because my brain starts to shut down and my words don't come out anymore. My kids know to ask me before that if they need any help with anything. But you can work out your week with your energy. Are you a morning person? Do you like to do things a bit later, lunchtime, after, or when it's quiet in the house? But please don't work too late at night because sleep is so important. But this is a great way to manage our energy and manage our to-do items by plotting them out with this easy storage for our to-dos. I want to move on to the last step, which is step 6, maintenance tools. So this is all about what can we do every day or maybe every week to help us stay organized and to help us keep on top of our to-do list. We are going to continue to monitor what's coming in. We're going to, review those 6 steps or the 5 steps that we've already gone through, looking at an audit of how we're using our time, monitoring what we're saying yes to. So, that first step, but also, how are we going to manage what we're doing each and every day? So some of the things we can do daily in relation to these focus points that we're looking at today for managing a busy household. So in relation to daily living activities, make an effort to get family members in your house to do a bit of a kitchen reset. We do this each night as we are cleaning up after dinner. Somebody will stack the dishwasher. The 2 boys usually will help me dry what I'm washing and putting in the dish drainer. clear the dining room table, clear the island bench. And while we're doing that, my husband folds the dry laundry. So that's something we all do together for a kitchen reset so that it's ready and waiting for the next day that we're getting up and doing our breakfast. Or quite often happens the boys are up having a midnight snack, cooking themselves some noodles or something, that they can come out and do it. And they're pretty good at cleaning up after themselves as well, which is something we're, practicing and learning as we're going. But also, what's your sort of laundry routine? Do you wash every day, every couple of days, once a week? What works for you and your family? And having a bit of a look at those main living areas as well. Again, if you've got other people that live in your household, get everybody involved, give them a little job to do. Like, can you go and grab all of the rubbish of the living room floor? Or can you bring the plates in from the living room and put them in the dishwasher? Or can you pick up the remotes and put them where they should be? These little things that we can do each day with everybody helping out can be really helpful when managing a busy household. What about the family logistics? Checking school bags for notices. I don't think as many notices come home these days. They're often an app that parents can give consent to things, but sometimes there is schoolwork in there to and schoolwork and notices to sign and return. But also, it doesn't hurt to do a bit of a bag check, even if it's your own lunchbox, making sure there's no squished bananas down the bottom. Check the kids' school uniforms, what activities are on tomorrow. Do they need their sports gear? Do they need the runners? But also different appointments and admin. Have a look what's coming up over the next couple of days. I'm going to talk about that more in a second. Is there anything special that you need or family members need for the next day or the next couple of days that you need to prepare for? And give yourself a favor by lightening your mental load by writing things down that are continuing to circle in your head. Get them out of your head. Use something else to remind you to do it, like your to-do list, or put it in the calendar to do tomorrow at a certain time, rather than just, around and around and thinking about it over and over. So some of these daily things might be helpful. They don't need to be arduous. You could spend hours and hours on all of these things, but these could be just little quick check-ins that you're doing, having a quick look at the calendar and those sorts of things to be able to make your days more organized. And also each week, I highly recommend just sort of sitting down and having a look at the week ahead to see what's coming up, because sometimes things do take a little bit more planning, so that night before might not be enough time. Particularly if you've got kids at school, have you got any special dress up days coming up in the next week, or is there any outfits they need or projects they need to complete? Have a look. I used to do this on a Tuesday when the school newsletter came out. I would have a look at the newsletter, see the things that are coming up, put them in the calendar, and also see if there's any preparation I needed to make. And if it was like a costume, I'd put that time in the weekend before, maybe to go to the op shop or make something or check out the costume drawer, that sort of thing. And that can be the same for any of your special occasions that you've got coming up, any special events, family outings, things that you need to prepare for. But also, of course, doctor's appointments, anything medical seems to take time. There's paperwork, there's specialists, referral forms. Of course, traveling to get there. If it's the first time you've ever been there, do you know where you're going? Where do you park? Is there any special instructions to get you there on time? What time do you need to leave home to get there on time? Allowing, for traffic and those sorts of things. And don't forget that getting to the place at the time of your appointment is not the same as parking your car, getting your bag, getting your water bottle, walking in and introducing yourself to the front desk. That can take 5 or 10 minutes sometimes, particularly if you've got mobility issues or you're taking somebody else along. You might want to allow yourself 10, 15, 20 minutes to get out of the car to get into an appointment. So this weekly check-in and looking forward can be really helpful to see how long it's going to take you to do all of these things and making sure you're allowing enough time. And sometimes I do this myself now on a Sunday, probably even Thursday, Friday, seeing what appointments I've got coming up. Send a text to the client, say, looking forward to seeing you Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Where's the best place to park? That sort of thing if I haven't been there before. So I usually do that, yeah, probably Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday, if I haven't done it, looking later in the week. And sometimes I go, oh, heck, I've like double booked myself. I'm supposed to be doing this and this at the same time. And if you're looking in advance, then you can see that that might happen and you can actually make some changes. And if you hadn't looked, you might just be in a bit of a pickle. But if you're doing it beforehand, you've got some time to make some adjustments. So today we've had a good look and an audit of where all the to-dos coming from and making an effort not to add more to-dos to our to-do list. We don't want to take on any more study at the moment. We don't want to do any more classes. We don't want to do any more volunteering. If we're not adding more, we're stopping the stuff, that very first step. We looked at how we can prioritize and stay focused on the important tasks. We were looking at those questions to ask ourselves to help with the priorities. Then we used that weekly planner to structure our week to suit our energy and all the activities that we're going on. And then just in the last step, we're making being organized a part of everyday life so that we break it down into tiny pieces so that all these little things just happen a little bit more easily every day when we're a bit more focused on what the big picture is. Because as we've said, with all these activities that we've focused on this week, the daily living activities like the meals, the laundry, the family logistics, getting people to and from, yourself getting to and from appointments or taking others to appointments, even all the admin, the emails, paying bills in relation to those appointments, and also the mental load, the energy that it takes to manage a household. We've acknowledged a few times today, particularly when you've got lots going on, and being clear on what you're trying to achieve and how you want to spend your time is really helpful to keep you on the straight and narrow. So we've got a number of events coming up, which we will share. We're just finalizing a few things at the moment. We'll share the Facebook link as well to our events because we've got some coming up here online, but we've got some in-person ones coming up too. So we'll share those in the email this afternoon when we send it. So we'd love to see you in person at some of the ones that we've got coming up. Looking forward to seeing you at them. But also just as a thank you for coming along. We'd love you to make a chat, to ask any questions. If you're interested in doing some one-on-one coaching and need some help to stay focused on these important tasks, I'd love to give you a free 15-minute chat just to, get clarity on some of these things and make a time to do that that's going to suit you. So there's a few things coming up. Let me just stop my share. Stop share. Getting back to my page. Sorry. So yeah, looking forward to hearing what some of your sorry, just got to get the right button first. Stop my share. Was there anything that we missed there, or any tips that work for you in some of these things that I haven't been able to cover today? Thanks, Wailu. You are welcome. Thanks, Suzanne. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you thought it was good. Yeah, any other questions? Otherwise, feel free to email us or make one of those clarity calls to be able to have a chat and talk more about managing your busy household or any other decluttering and organising that you want to do. So any other final questions? Either pop them in the chat or unmute yourself. Thanks, Bill. Good to see you again. As always, hope you are well. Thanks, Sue. And Dione, great to see you all. Yeah, look forward to seeing you soon. We'll send all those links out for our upcoming events in email, summary email this afternoon. But yeah, look forward to catching up soon. I hope time management for busy households has been helpful for you today. Take care. Bye for now.